This is a Tape Deck podcast.
Hello, and welcome back to We'll Run For. This is your host, Tom, and with me as always are Aaron.
Hello.
Michael.
Hello.
And Diana.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We're recording this in the morning. We never do this.
This is
No,
weird.
well,
It is weird.
We did discuss that this coming week, all of us have previous engagements, so this was the best time. We're fresh off the heels of Rockin' the Knob,
Yes.
And I'm on my third cup of coffee.
and Diana is heavily caffeinated.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't plan super well. We didn't ask what day we could record, so we realized Michael's
Everybody's
like,
traveling.
we're gonna have to record early in the week because we're traveling at the end of the week. And then Diana and Tom were like, no, can't do that because we're traveling the beginning of the week. And we're like, this was poorly planned.
We need
What
like a
about
joint
Sunday?
calendar. Well, yeah, and 'tis the season, so I decorated for Halloween, and then
Nice.
immediately was like, we need to do a Harry Potter marathon. So we're gonna do a Harry Potter marathon, and I didn't want to have to stop said marathon to record, so I was like, let's record early so that I can
Yes.
get straight to Hogwarts.
That's
I got to
funny.
cut the grass and then go for a walk to loosen up my legs.
Oh boy,
Oh yeah,
I got to
Yep,
ride
yep.
the Peloton at some point today.
We're
so
not
do
even
I.
24 hours out of Rockin' the Knob.
We're not
I know
even
that's
what?
24
wild.
hours
Oh
out.
yeah, yeah.
That's wild. We never.
I mean, we
record
started
this fresh.
24 hours ago. But
Oh boy.
oh,
Everyone was dying on the trails at this point.
yeah.
It
I want
was-
to do a live reveal of what the name of this episode is going to be.
A live reveal.
Well, for us, a live reveal.
I was going to
not for anybody
say,
else. You've already
everyone
seen
else is
it.
going to
Yeah.
see the title
This
before
is-
you.
I came up with it last night.
Oh God.
A Bird in Hand and the Rise of the Knob.
The rise of a bird in hand and the rise of the knob.
I love it.
I love it.
I mean, the Rise of the Knob was the one we discussed
Yeah,
last
we
time, but now
discussed it
because
last
we have
time.
to add Bird and Hand in, he's like, this is going to be so fun because we got to really
Innuendo-y.
innuendo-y.
Also,
I blame
not to
Pennsylvania.
spoil, but like when I came, like we had to pick the dog up from my mom's last night, and I was chit chatting with her because we got home really late last night, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't think you guys would be gone all day." And I said, "Well, it took Michael 8.5 hours to do this race," and she goes, "Ew, why?" Like,
Oh my god, that's amazing.
and then I had to like explain to her like for the 90th time what Rock the Knob is. And she's like, oh, yeah, I kind of remember you guys talking about that.
Oh boy. I mean, by the time this episode drops, I mean, because actually it's going to be over a week from now, for the most part, people will know kind of how our races went, right? I mean, you
I'd say so.
posted on your personal, Tom, right?
Yep.
So when I'm actually, after this is done, I'm collecting the pictures and everything, and I'm going to do a full story recap in a little bit. So since we had zero service up there,
Well,
Yeah, there is
like,
no service.
not
at
even
Blue
a
Knob.
drop of service up there. Every
I
so
had a
often
touch.
I'd get like a random like message through, and there's a group text that I'm in, and none of it made any sense because not all of them were coming through. Only
Yeah.
like one random one in the middle of the conversation. I'm like,
God.
I have no idea what's happening here.
Oh my
Well, I had
God.
to shut my phone off because it was soaked with sweat
Oh my god.
and locked me out of it. So I got to like a point. Well, I mean, we'll get into the race, but I was going to take a picture and I pull out my phone and it's like, hey, you cannot unlock your phone for an hour. And I'm like, oh,
Oh,
guess
this
I'm
is
not taking
wet.
a picture. So I just shut it off at that point. I was like, well, this is over. I'm not taking any I can't take any more pictures. So
That's
I
funny.
was I didn't get as many pictures as I wanted. It is a beautiful course. But
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
When you can actually look up and see the course.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if you guys can see, but Archie's joining us.
Oh, look at
Oh
Archie.
my god, Archie right on camera.
Hello, Archie. You're so handsome. Hold on,
my
I got to
God.
take a picture of that. Wait, lean back again. Gonna take a picture for the gram.
Archie.
Look, he's annoyed. He's so mad.
He's like, I'm not looking.
He's just looking. It's fine.
He sometimes does this thing where he thinks he's a cat and climbs onto the back cushions of the couch.
Yeah. Our cats do that, but they are cats, so they're supposed to.
Well, every day I come home, the back cushions of the couch are flung everywhere.
Yeah,
I'm like,
true.
yeah.
We have no
God,
idea what the hell they
happened
do.
all day?
Yeah. Well, Archie will sometimes go
It's
into
wild.
our bedroom and just move every pillow on the bed. So we always know if he was laying in the bedroom because the pillows are scattered.
That's funny.
He just moves them where he wants them.
All right. What else? I mean, we've actually caught up quite a bit because we've been together for the last 2 weekends.
Yeah. Racing
Because we had Bird in
Racing.
Hand.
Tis
Yeah.
the season. I feel like everyone is
is.
doing races.
Yes, we will get
Yeah.
back to goal getters next time because
Yes.
everybody's got a lot of races. Just with another double race report, and Rockin' the Knob is always a
Yeah.
favorite of ours to review. So
Oh
there'll be
God.
a lot to go through.
And honestly, yesterday when we realized we had to record tomorrow, there wasn't quite any time
yeah.
to post for our goal getters.
Well, we couldn't post because we were on top of a mountain with no
It's true.
service.
That is true.
And I didn't do a very good job of just capturing like photos or anything. We got home last night and Tom was like, "Oh, I guess you and I should have gotten a photo together."
I actually was going through my pictures and I'm like, why did Diana and I not have a picture of us together since we
You
were
guys were
together
there
the
for
whole
8
day?
hours together,
8
9
hours
hours
together.
Like, why don't we have a picture of us? Just like, I don't know what happened, but we didn't
Like
take
we
one
didn't
of us
selfie
either.
with the baby. I don't know. We were
Nope.
like out of it.
I don't know. I don't know what happened. It's fine. Yeah, I don't know. Tom, why don't you rein us back into where we're supposed to go with this episode? I don't even know.
Yeah, Michael. Do you have any 5-star reviews?
Not as I'm aware of. Also, besides not having service, we were also changing our phones Friday afternoon.
Oh, God.
so,
Yeah.
Mine was a disaster.
so I haven't checked much, but I don't think we do. But thank you everybody who does leave reviews, and as always, share the show, social media, all that stuff, word of mouth. We met a few people who've heard about the show because of word of mouth and things like that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that during the Rockin' the Knob recap.
Yep.
So,
All right, well then let's get to it. What are we running for this week?
I'll go first.
I was gonna say, do we want Aaron? Did you No, because last time we recorded, you were just boot bound. You hadn't gotten officially word, so you have to update everybody.
I am running for hope.
Okay.
I'm hopeful that I can start running sometime soon. I went to the doctor on Friday. I had my MRI last week, which was also a story and a half that I won't get into here. If anyone's interested, let me know. I had my MRI on Thursday morning, just in time for my doctor to be able to get it for my Friday appointment. I have a grade 4 stress fracture, tibial stress fracture.
My God.
Which I storied about, so maybe you know, because I got a little bit of a update on like kind of where a shin splint is versus where the pain is on mine. When I did my first video, I was sort of showing where my pain currently is, but the shin splint, when you have one, when we were talking about it, is a little bit further back behind, like underneath your calf. And really, when I think about it, like that's where the pain started, and then it started like radiating in the ankle and then up into the front. The front part is where once I got to a stress fracture. So if you ever have pain towards the back of your calf, underneath it, around your ankle, and then it radiates to the front, go see a doctor immediately because it might be a stress fracture.
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Like I thought like maybe it might be a stress fracture. I can't believe it got so bad.
Yeah. So they grade them 1 to 4 and I got a 4.
Congratulations.
Yes, that's good.
You are the best.
You are the best at
he's like,
hurting yourself.
your 12-hour run probably had something to do with that.
No.
That's weird. That's weird.
Can't believe.
It's weird. It's weird that
so
would happen.
weird.
Cannot believe that.
Like maybe it could have stayed at grade 1, but then you decided that running for 12 hours or walking for 12 hours was a good idea. So
Seems like weird that would happen.
I don't
It
know.
seems like a very runner thing to do.
Yes, but the good news is that, like I have told some people, I self-booted myself, as we kind of talked
It's
about,
true.
because I felt like
Wheelchaired
I had this
yourself in
like,
Disney.
yeah, I just like my gut told me it was bad, and so I people are like, oh, about runners who don't listen to their doctors, but I always want to be running as fast as I can, like healing as quickly as I can to get back to running. So I think I do actually listen to my doctors when they tell me like something's wrong.
Me
And
too.
I had that
Sure.
I had a gut feeling. So he did say that because I did all of that and I did a lot of smart stuff up front, I'm much further into the process of healing than he would expect a runner to be when they come see them at this point.
That's awesome.
So it's usually an automatic 12-week in a healing process.
Okay.
He said that because I'm at week 6 and he feels like I've been smart the whole time, and based on the MRI and where the healing is, I can start weaning myself off the boot over the next 2 weeks. So don't wear it in the house when I'm in the house, but wear it when I'm outside and walking around. Then I can go like outside a little bit or at work if I'm just sitting at work and not doing anything, but still wear it when I'm walking in stores.
Is he aware that you're dodging ghosts on an uneven floor in your house? Like, is he aware of that? Would that change if you have to wear a boot in house?
I don't know. So we'll see how it goes. By week 3, he said I can stop wearing the boot altogether and then just always make sure I have the boot in my car or something in case I'm doing something or I can feel it or it's starting to bother me. He gave me full permission for the Peloton, said, you know, he was like, I actually trust you to do what you're supposed to because you self-booted yourself, because that's unheard of.
Yeah.
So he's
While
like,
ignoring that you walked on it for 12 hours.
you know, whatever.
Look, you got to do what you got to do.
Mistakes were made. It's fine.
Yeah. So, yeah, he said, you know, obviously if you're riding and it hurts, don't do it. If you're doing it, he gave me permission to do full weight yoga, like on my both legs yoga, because I've been doing on the ground yoga a little bit to keep my like body, I don't know, doing something else too, because I can't do any strength training, like anything like like full weight bearing training, like that's all out right now. So he said, but yoga is soft enough that even if I'm standing on one foot, that where the heel, how far along it is, that should be fine.
Could you do like leg lifts and that kind of stuff?
Nope. Nothing yet. No strength training at all. So I see him in about 3 weeks. And then he said, we'll reevaluate at that point. He thinks I can start doing some strength training. And then we'll talk about a return to run program at that point. But I mean, even a return to run program at that point will just be like a mile walk just to see how it feels. And if it's not feeling good, then stop. So, I mean, it'll still be a full 12 weeks before I can like run. So, but I'm 6 weeks in, so I have 6 more weeks basically.
Yeah.
So I have hope.
Yeah. I don't know about the ankle-y area, but when I blew out my ACL, which I got yelled at yesterday for still not fixing, I did a lot of elliptical. I did like elliptical for 9 or 10 months instead of running.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
So I don't know, like, if you're able to do like something like that, but maybe not because you're still
that's
standing.
Still weight. You're still standing because
on
even on the Peloton, he still said saddle only.
Yeah.
So so we'll see. He said over the next 2 weeks, if I stand for a minute, I could see how it feels. But if it starts to bother me at all, make sure I'm staying in the saddle.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, it gives me a little hope that I'm a little further along than, I could have been if I hadn't played it smart myself in August and before we went away. And this means that I'll be running by hopefully the end of October. 6 more weeks brings me to the last week. It only gives me 11 weeks to train for Dopey, so I'm still a little nervous. But if I can keep my Pelotoning up as much as I can for the cardio part of it, and then also do some yoga and eventually in the next 3 weeks start some strength training, I'm hopeful that return to run won't be too bad.
And I mean, we take the first like 3 races of Dopey really, really easy.
Yeah.
So even if you start the marathon and decide I'm done and I want to get swept, you can do that,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and just
So
kind
we'll
of
see.
take
I mean,
it
no
slow
matter
and steady.
either way, I'm gonna, I think I can get through the first 3 races. It really is the marathon that I'm a little worried about, with only 11 weeks and 12 full weeks off from running.
Mhm.
I'm not. I don't know, but I have hope. I'm running for hope.
Believe in you. We believe in you.
I love it. I love it. Cool. Well, I'll jump in because speaking of Dopey, I can't say I'm not training for Dopey anymore. It's officially
official.
here.
It's here. It's time.
I cannot be like, well, I'm not Dopey training. Because our first official training run for Dopey will be this Tuesday. We got 5 miles we're supposed to do on Tuesday. Is that right?
Yep.
And then we're in hell for the next whatever. So
12
it's
weeks
here.
or whatever. Yeah.
12 weeks.
Well, it's more than 12 weeks because I have 11 weeks from when I can run. So you got about 18 weeks, I guess.
All right. There we go. I've got like the thing on my calendar for tomorrow that's like week 1 Dopey training. So I've been trying to kind of take it easy, and I've decided, like, because we did 3 races in a row.
Yeah.
And Tom did 4 races in a row. I'm not doing anything this weekend. Like, I didn't run yesterday. I might do a little Peloton today. We'll see how I feel, if I just want to be lazy and then jump into it. So
16 weeks. We have 16 weeks till
16
Dopey.
weeks.
There you go.
Here it is. If anyone wants our plan, let me know. If anyone is kind of planning on running with us or keeping us company, we're running 2 and 1s. Run 2 minute, walk a minute. We'll do some variation of that at all the races. For some of the races, we might switch it the whole time and run a minute, walk 2 minutes. So that's what we're training to.
I'm going to piggyback off that. Here goes Dopey.
Whoop, whoop.
I'm chasing that dwarf.
Woo!
I'm very intimidated, but trust the training. I'm gonna put in them miles on the feet.
Yeah, I mean,
Hey.
you put in a grind yesterday.
I mean,
if you can do that, you can do Dopey.
And with like 3,500 feet of elevation.
No. I mean, I'm gonna put in the work. That's all I'm
Yes.
saying. I'm putting in the work.
Yeah.
I'm gonna focus on the training, and here we go.
Okay.
But goodbye to everybody that doesn't run, because honestly, we'll see you. I'll see you like
We'll see you, Jan. We'll see you, Jan.
mid-January, and we'll catch up with you.
Oh man. I guess I'm running for whatever the next race is. We have a track race in 2 weeks
Mm-hmm.
or a week and a half from Endless Endurance, who did the Loopy Looper that we did. It's a track race, a 12-hour track race in Camden, New Jersey, that we're going to do. And after that, I'm not sure. I think maybe do Badger Palooza, which I think has 6, 12, and 24. I was thinking about doing the 24, and it has you do a 5K every hour.
Yeah, it's different. It's not like not like you're running the whole time.
You do a 5K each hour,
but you have to make sure you're obviously back by the hour mark, or you get swept.
Yeah.
And you did you do something like that before? Or did Donna Quackenbush run O'Donna?
We all kind of did. We all kind of did the Yeti thing.
No. The Biffledink. I know Megan.
What is that?
The what?
Avis. The Biffledink.
You haven't heard of the Biffledink?
What? You said it like we all know what this is.
I can't Google this quick enough. Look,
it's just
Look,
a funny
don't
word.
It is. It's by Smart Mouth Brewing Company.
Okay,
I thought so.
All right.
I thought it's called the Biffledink by Smart Mouth Brewing Company. And the actual race is a 50K where you run a 5K for 10 hours every hour.
All right,
I know Mark
Gotcha.
and Megan did that. I don't remember when, at some point in their life. And then a couple other people I know may have done it. Maybe Brittany? I'm not sure. Other people did it though.
Gotcha. Is this because I remember I feel like Donna did something that was virtual. Michael, would this be something in person
Yes.
that you would do?
Yeah, it's
Gotcha.
at a winery.
Yeah,
Ooh.
It's
the
local, so we don't have to travel anywhere.
Williamtown
Yeah.
Badgers in New Jersey are the ones who put it on. That's why it's called the Badger Palooza.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, so it's close by, so we don't have to travel or anything like that. So that's why it's
nice.
kind of. Well, we'll get further into it in our replacement for goal getters. Jamie texts me and I ignore it, and then have to talk about it later because I ignored him on the goal getter segment last time by accident. There was an accident. I didn't ignore him. We were just busy. I think we were traveling at the time.
Tom, did you have some news?
Oh, so we're always looking to expand our Will Run for
Branding.
and the service offerings that we can offer to our public. I am now, thanks to American American Marriage Ministries or something. I am now on an ordained minister.
Wow.
And
That's pretty cool.
I can perform services in the great state of New Jersey, I think it's called. Just in case anybody needs minister services, I'm your man in New Jersey.
Although you may get in trouble because you were blessing people yesterday,
Yeah.
and that was outside of your
Pennsylvania.
jurisdiction.
Pennsylvania.
That was Pennsylvania.
Look, the Lord has no limits, and
Well,
I'm not going to get sacrilegious, but I will just tell you that if you need my support in the state of New Jersey, I am your man.
that's pretty cool.
Good.
Michael,
Yes.
did you want to, now that we've gotten that out of the way, did you want to drop Coach Jamie's
Yes. This is
goal
our,
getter?
yes.
This is our addendum to our goal getters.
Yeah, I think it works
segment?
better like this anyway because it was something it was kind of a topic we were going to talk about anyway. So Jamie, he's looking to kind of reset his training, right? He's signed up for he's got his next two races will be his 25th and 26th of the year.
Oh my God.
Good God.
Of the
It's like-
year?
Yeah,
That's
he
like
does a lot
every
of the
other weekend.
local
Oh my
5Ks
gosh.
and stuff like that, but still, it's a lot of races.
Whew.
But he's feeling like overextended.
Yeah.
And kind of he's going to start marathon training because he wants to do the Myrtle Beach Marathon, which is in spring.
Wow.
So he kind of needs a reset before that. And I mean, I think we've all been there. So I am there now,
Yeah.
even in the middle of, I think, training pretty well, with the Aaron's injury and other stuff, we just obviously I could have still went and done Javelina 100, but I don't know. It just wasn't. I didn't have the desire to do it anymore. And I don't feel like that's a race that you can't take it lightly. It's 100 miles. It's not like you can go in and fake it. I was like, I don't. I think I have the fitness. After I'm done rocking the knob and some other stuff, I think I would have had the fitness to.
But your heart wasn't in it.
But mentally, I wasn't there. So I'm like, well, then I'm not going to make it. I'm not. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just wasn't something.
Well, I think we were
that I
supposed to
need to
do
be
it
there.
together.
Yeah. So
Aw.
we pulled back on that, and I kind of had to reset what I wanted. So Badger Palooza's on there. None of these are goals though, but I enjoy doing them, and I think I just want to do more things locally because I don't want to have to travel anywhere.
Yeah.
So for Jamie, he wants to I told him just cut back on the races for a while, and he's got a couple lined up before the marathon, the Myrtle Beach Marathon. He's going to do that 20 miler that he did last year. He talked about the what was it, Fellowship of the Idiots or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that'll be a good training run, and so hopefully he can I told him just take some time the end of the year, just run for you, and that's it, and no racing, no nothing, just kind of regain.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I feel like burnout is real. And after doing 25 and 26 races this year,
even if they're like
5Ks
Even
or
if they're
10Ks or
5Ks.
whatever. It
Because
doesn't
it's like
matter.
logistically, you have to
Yeah.
wake up, you have to be there at a certain time. And especially
Yeah.
because we're getting into like fall and a lot of these races, that's the one thing that I do like about spring and fall is you're not dictated. You don't have to get up at 5 a.m. to go out and run. You can kind of
Yeah.
fit it in wherever you want. And
Yeah,
then just
because
even
the
the
weather's a little
logistics
bit
of
better.
a 5K, it just takes up your entire day, you
Yep.
know?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I just feel like sometimes you need to like run for you. And I mean, Jamie
think-
specifically
yeah.
started running for himself when
Yeah.
he started. And then once he found the racing, he just started signing up for it to keep himself motivated,
As you do.
which is
yeah.
great. It's just that sometimes you lose some of the like for you part of it, like
Yeah.
that you're just going out there for yourself to, feel good and to mentally, give yourself.
Well, I think he's
Yeah.
been doing it long enough now where he doesn't have to worry that, I don't have a race on the calendar, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Whereas in the beginning, you have that like, I need this, I need
Or
that.
even
I
if
need-
you
yeah.
just
Yeah,
pull back to
I
like
agree.
once a month doing like, I have a
Yeah.
Saturday race.
Yeah,
I'm just
exactly.
going to do a
I'll
Saturday
this
race.
one. It looks fun.
But
Yeah.
not every weekend, just like,
Yeah.
for the next couple months, be like, pick and be much more like, I want to run a turkey trot.
Yeah.
Cool. But then the rest of the time you're just running for yourself.
Because you're going to be putting in a lot of time.
Yeah. Marathon training is a grind. And
Yeah.
like at that point, you're making a commitment to be out there for the hours that you need to be out there for. So before you get into that mindset, do, kind of what Diana did. I'm not dopey training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lie
I'm
to
telling you,
yourself.
I'm in a great
Just lie
mental
to
place
yourself.
right now.
Yeah, just lie to
Where-
yourself.
Just lie to yourself.
Where
That's it.
last time I was dopey training, by the time we technically hit dopey training, I was miserable because I called it dopey training all summer.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So,
Yeah.
at this point, last time I did it, I was already burnt out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say this though, like hearing his like being able to follow his journey throughout, from when he started to where he is now, and just it's transformational, right? Like it's amazing to see, and now he's in that place where he's got to continue to find the joy in it because you don't want it to become necessarily work, right? You want to. I mean, the races are fun when you get into them. And Michael, to your point, like in the beginning, you want something to keep hopping to, just to keep things on the calendar to keep you going. But like now, he knows he can do it. He just has to keep that
That's
joy
it.
in it.
And
Yeah.
it's okay to change your mind too.
Yeah.
Like if you get halfway through something and you're like, I don't really enjoy this. Well, then I don't know.
I think what he's accomplished
Yeah.
to date is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So-
100%.
Yep.
Yeah. But like one a month, because I'm kind of with Jamie. Like I always feel like if I don't have something on calendar at all, I'm not going to do anything because it's very
Yeah.
easy for me to say, look, I don't feel like it today and I don't have to today, which
Mhm.
some
Yeah.
of that is good, right? Like some of that is you just need a break. But
Which
a lot
I
of times
think
what happens is it happens like 4 weekends in a row for me if I don't have
Yeah.
anything on calendar. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. That's why like if you keep something, that's why I
Like
said I
once a
think that
month, yeah.
it's good to like continue keeping something on your calendar through the season, but just maybe not stack them so heavily and just be
Yeah.
like, I'm going to do this one race for myself and to enjoy, not like I mean, 26 races. That means, and we're only in
it's
September.
every other weekend.
That means
yeah.
pretty much every other weekend, if not even
every weekend.
that's because we're only in September.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking like 3 a month almost.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pull
that
back
is
a little bit on
And
that,
be
Jamie,
like,
and I think it'll help you.
Yeah. Yeah.
be a little bit more strategic as well. Like when you're planning the races, like where can you fit them in where they're training runs?
Yes, 100%.
And I think it's good to have a balance to decide, okay, some races I'm going to run to try and hit a goal, whatever that goal is, whether it's a PR or just how you feel or whatever. And then some runs you just say, okay, I'm going to run this for fun, or I'm going to run this and I don't know, do like what Erin does and say, I want to pet every dog I see, or
Yeah.
Mhm.
I want to stop at every beer stop, or whatever it is, kind of
Mhm.
make that I think it's
Yep.
even fun when we go out and do like the scavenger hunts and stuff like that. I love around Christmas time and things like that where we have those because it's a distraction while you run. So come up with something that you want to do during a race. Like,
That's
I
fun.
want to
We should
spot
do a
certain
scavenger
things.
hunt.
We should do one for fall.
Yeah, I was gonna say we should do a fall one while everyone's out there doing their dopey long runs.
Yeah. I'll
Mm.
need it. We'll need it.
Yeah.
And like even this year, we were looking at what races we're doing and okay, which ones fit into dopey training, which ones don't. And even deciding, okay, we have to run before or after the race. I think that's what gets really hard for us. So if we have to run 10 miles and we find a 5-miler we really want to do, is it worth waking up at 4 a.m. to do 5 miles before your 5-miler?
Oh,
Yeah, I've done that
And stuff like
for
that.
actually Ocean City Half Marathon is at the end of September, and it always fit into my fall marathon training in some way. But it was always like a weekend that I was going to have to do like a 16-miler or an 18-miler, so it meant that I had to get there early and like run for like a few, 3 to 5 miles before to get the full run in.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
No, that was good. And if you guys have anything else you want to add to that or tips and tricks for keeping your runs fun, send them our way. So
I mean, if anyone has any suggestions for like a scavenger hunt game that we can put out there for you guys, we'll put something together. We'd love to do that. So we love getting the community involved with different things, and Tom likes to blow it up on social media. So
Here's the thing. I don't appreciate that dig.
What?
Look, I'm an influencer.
But yeah, Jamie, thanks for sending that in.
Yeah, Jamie, that's awesome. So, do we want to recap some races?
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
Let's start in Lancaster, Pennsylvania,
Lancashire,
in Bird in Hand, Pennsylvania, with the Bird in Hand Half Marathon. This was my first year doing it. I know y'all
I didn't
have
realize
done
it was your
before.
first year doing it.
I did the 5K. I don't know
Okay.
how long ago was that? When
I think it was last dopey training.
It was like
It was when we-
There was like 50 people from Shenanigans.
Yeah, it was
There.
when we met.
It's when we met. It was the
Oh.
anniversary. I saw it on Facebook
Aw.
while we were bird in hand. I was like, it's our friend anniversary.
Who would have thunk it that we would have been now at this point?
I don't know.
Mhm.
Not me, but we didn't come up till the morning of, but you guys went up the night before, right? Picked up
Yeah,
the
we
race
went up the night
packets.
before. Yep, we got there last time we did it. We like took off Friday and went up all day and brewery hopped and things like that. And we've just been so crazy at work we couldn't do it. So we got up there probably at 5:30 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
Picked up our packets, super easy. Got a pretzel. We met the Rise and Run crew on
that's right,
Friday night.
We saw Bob and Greg.
So Bob and
Awesome.
Greg, they were awesome. So we chatted with them for a while. Our friends Nicole and Ryan were running the 5K, so we hung out and did a little cheering for that. And I don't know, it's just such a community race. Like the entire community of Bird in Hand comes out. There's a big tent that it's kind of a small expo, so you get your bib and your packet and all that, and they have like a little food stands.
Mm-hmm.
And they did not have apple cider donuts this year, which was, I don't know, personally offensive to me. It felt personal, honestly. But they had a few vendors there selling like wood carvings and things like that. And then a couple like little race booths. So, what they normally have, those little race vendors that are there that have
And
water
that tent,
bottles and shoes and
that
all
that tent is massive, by the way. Like
Humongous.
we're not talking about like a little
no.
We're talking like, I don't know, you could probably fit 1,000 people inside of that tent, maybe more. I mean, because that's what they
Yeah,
do
it's
at
big.
the end. I don't even know how to like describe the massiveness of that tent.
And then like half the tent they have blocked off. So the night before, Friday night, they do like a pasta party, which we didn't do, although we probably should have done because it was only like $10. And then they have tables all set up for everyone. And in the after the the half. That's where they have their chicken and all that food.
All the
That
desserts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll talk
desserts.
about the
After the race
post-race
there.
party.
And then they have
great.
also they do the night before, they do a s'mores party. So they have
Mhm.
fire pits and chairs, and I don't know. It's just like such a nice little event. It is a challenging course.
Yes.
So I don't know if it's something I would do every year, but I do like doing it every couple of years. And it's not too bad for us. It's about 2 hours.
No, it was kind of an easy ride.
Yeah.
So after we picked up our packets, we went to downtown Lancaster, and
Which is adorable,
It's
by the
adorable.
way. We didn't realize it would have like a little city.
Mhm.
and we had Irish food
It was amazing.
at Ann Bailey's Irish
Yeah.
Public House.
Yeah, Annie
Nice.
Bailey's. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, because when I think of Lancaster, I think of Irish pubs.
Look,
I thought it was so funny when you said you ate Irish food. I was like, that's so random.
It was random. It was like, but it was like right downstairs from our hotel. And because we were, in Lancaster, like everything closes early. So we had to find
Yeah.
something because we were later than we wanted to be. It was like 8:30, almost 9 by the time we were
okay.
eating dinner. So we didn't have a ton of options. But the food was freaking amazing.
The food was
we
so
said we
good.
wanted to go back. We liked it so much. And they had like
Yeah.
cool craft cocktails, and it was such a great spot. We actually said next time we do it, we're going to stay over Saturday night so that we can explore their little like city
Yeah.
Yeah.
area, that it's really cute down there.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
always felt like Lancaster was, I thought it was kind of more like Columbia or like a suburb. I didn't realize they
Oh.
had a little downtowny area
it's
like
really
that.
small, the downtowny area, but
It's
it's
so
really
cute.
adorable though. It kind of like
It's so cute.
reminds me of kind of where we live now, where we wanted a little downtown area. I actually
Yeah.
think Lancaster's slightly bigger than ours, but yes, it's got
Yeah.
like the little food row, the all the
Yeah.
little antique
And it's got
places.
like some like high rise, not like high rises, but
Yeah, that's
I
why I
mean,
say
we were in
it's
a
like
Marriott with like 17 floors, so it wasn't
Oh, yeah.
small.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, it's pretty good size. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's built
Where-
up too over the last not few years, but over the last like 10 to 20 years, it's
Mhm.
like become a little bit more of a destination place. So they like kind of built like the hotels and like all that
Mhm.
stuff to try and bring more people in.
Well, it
um,
worked. It's
than it used to
adorable, and it was
have.
about 20 minutes away from Birmingham, so we thought it was
Yeah, that's not
it
too
was
bad.
perfect. Yeah, where last time we stayed in, I don't know, some dank hotel at Birmingham.
yeah.
It was the
Yeah.
one
I don't know,
Oh,
like
you didn't stay at the one right across the street, right?
I don't
Because they do
think
have the
so.
Bird in Hand hotel that's like right across the street where you can like literally walk. That one books
Yes,
up
it's
like the
really expensive.
and it books
say
up
race
like
weekend.
the like 3 weeks after the race opens because that's where everyone wants to stay so that they can roll out of bed and walk over to the to
Walk
the
over
race
to the start.
Yeah,
so yeah, well, we didn't go up until
Saturday.
morning, and I don't know, I was in a boot, so I didn't run, obviously.
you were screaming at us in the parking lot at 6:30 in the morning.
It's embarrassing.
Yes.
It was
Yeah.
embarrassing. I
And I
like to
screamed
embarrass
back,
people.
and then Tom yelled at both of us.
Yeah.
So
Generally what
then-
happens.
So yeah, uneventful morning, which is what I like.
There was a huge line for the porta potties. Oh my God. Can we talk about the guy at the porta potties
Hold
for
on.
just a second? I know that sounds creepy, but
Hold on, real quick. So we get there and we park, and there's a lot of people that go to this race, like spectators or whatever. And the race is put on by the Amish. And it's the most efficient thing that I've ever seen. Like, they know exactly what they're doing when they're parking all those cars, and
There are so
They're-
many people
they're
directing
moving traffic through. Like,
Mhm.
there's a lot of cars trying to get into basically what looks like a fairground, which
Yeah.
is not. It's just a big field with a tent. But like, it's so efficient, and
I
it
do
was
agree with that.
moving, and I was pleasantly surprised because I'm not stressed out at all, and we got there with plenty of time. So
Nice.
now we make our way over to the porta potty line.
Which was
Oh, yeah.
so long.
it was so long. And we were like, oh my God, we're not going to have time. This is going to be a nightmare.
It moved really
And we were
fast.
like, oh, it's moving really fast, so let's get in. Well, they had a guy. So the porta potties, they had probably 50 of them, and they were shaped in a U. And there was a guy literally standing in the middle of the U directing traffic. So you'd get kind of the front of the line. He'd be like, come. And you'd come up kind of where he was. And then he'd point, like as soon as the door would crack open, he's like, you're going there. You're going there. You're going there. You're going there. So it wasn't like, you know how like if you're in line for a porta potty, there's like weird hesitation. Am I going to go or are you going to go?
Yeah.
It was, they need to have, we were like, he's like the porta potty police. We were like, he needs to exist at every single race.
Yep.
Because it was so
when we
great.
say this line was long, I mean, it was like wrapped around, like, so as long as the tent was all the way to the parking lot, I could not believe, because we stopped and I saw Bob and Greg and I was talking to them for a little while and you guys were like, I have to go to the porta potty, like the big group. So you guys all went and I was like, oh, let me go find them. So I started walking up towards where the porta potties were. And then I made to try and find you. And I was like, did they already go? So then I started walking the whole line to find you guys because I didn't realize how long it was. And I started
there had to have been 300, 400 people in line.
backwards. And I was like, what is happening?
Yeah.
But I cannot believe how fast that line moved. I've never seen a porta potty line move so fast in my life.
It was very fast.
We also found Jessica Grand's purple porta potty.
Yep.
I sent her a little gram for gram love on that. I was like, oh, purple porta potty. You got to come to Bird in Hand, Jessica. It's the only way you'll find your purple porta potty. So, we took some pictures. One of them, Michael, the big group picture that I wanted to take. Michael's grabbing his nipples. He said it was because he thought that I was going to take multiple, but he was rushing to get to the start line. So I took one quick one, and he's like rubbing his nipples.
Hey,
no one's gonna know.
He's like, no one will notice. Like everyone will notice.
Nobody's gonna know.
Not gonna know.
So then we all kind of lined up for the race.
Mm-hmm.
And then we started the race.
Yeah. And I stayed behind, obviously, in a boot. But my friend Sam, who lives right in that area, he came and kept me company. So for the second race weekend in a row, I had company while waiting and cheering for everyone. So that was really nice. First Frumpa, now Sam.
Yep.
It's been nice that I'm not lonely during the cheering sessions.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
Yep. No, it was good weather. It wasn't too hot. It was kind of chilly a little bit in the morning. So it was perfect. I don't think when we did it before, I felt like it got way hotter in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Mm.
It was a little warm for a half.
Yeah.
For something you run hard, and not like crazy or anything. It was,
Yeah. I felt like it was in the 90s when we did it.
Yeah.
And it's been really hot. So that was pretty good. We were just coming off the Annapolis 10 miler, Charles Street 12. So I decided I was going to take it relatively easy with Nicole. And Nikki and Scott were all running with us. Tom stayed with us for about a mile.
Yep.
And we lost Nikki at about a mile and then Scott at mile 8. But we just did our intervals and we kept it slow. I mean, we were probably going a minute and a half slower than what our pace had really been, taking it easy. Nicole was having like weird things with like her insert in her shoe, and was feeling kind of bleh. And I've been having some weird pain, some shin splinty pain, which I'm actually going to go to the doctor for because you've scared me. So I'm going I'm going to call tomorrow and try and make an appointment. I don't think it's anything crazy, but I just want to make sure. So, I was like, we're just going to take it easy. We're not going to push ourselves. And it was a great race.
Yeah. I mean, it's farm country, right? So it's long stretches of country road with rivets in it because of the carriages, the Amish carriages that are on those roads. And there's, road apples everywhere. Cornfields as far as the eye could see. It is rolling hills. So there's long uphills and long downhills, but it's beautiful. Like, any number of farm wildlife you could think of. So there are cows and chickens and horses and
camels
and pigs and
Tom, what's a road apple?
Red apple is horse.
Thank you.
When a horse poops on the street and they don't pick it up, that's a
Yes.
road apple.
I said road apples to my friend Megan, and she was like, "What is that?" So,
Yeah.
for the people who don't know, who are listening to this podcast, now you know what a road apple is.
I love how like Tom just casually mentioned the poo on the road and just like pretended like he wasn't going to stop and talk about it for a minute.
Here's the deal. It was everywhere.
It was everywhere.
Oh man.
It was everywhere.
But a very unique race.
Yeah.
Very cool. I mean, I wouldn't say necessarily a bucket list race, but like if you're looking for something in Pennsylvania, that's a real cool race to run.
Yeah, so I actually filmed the start of the race on IG Live. So if you go back, you can see it. But there is a pacer at the beginning of the race who actually paces the entire race, and it is a horse and buggy.
Mm-hmm.
So the winner, you know how they have sometimes a police escort for like, the New York races and like whatever. The fastest runner for this race gets a horse and buggy pacer.
I love it. I love it. And like the whole Amish community comes out.
Mm-hmm.
There a lot more of the community actually runs the 5K the night before, so you see a lot more. And they don't wear, their running clothes. They wear their Amish garb, which is very cool, and sneakers usually. There's a few of them doing the half marathon, but there were a ton doing the 5K.
Okay.
The night before.
Yeah, and they sit outside and watch, and they have music. They have the bands out there, right? You guys, I think we posted a video of that at some point.
Oh yeah.
Yes. So there was a band. They were playing. Lots of people sat outside in front of their house with chairs and were just cheering. We saw a tiny Amish girl standing on a Shetland pony in bare feet, just standing on the horse, and Nicole and I had to do like a triple take. We were like, did we just see what we just thought we saw? Like, it was so bizarre. She's like, not like sitting on the horse, standing on the horse on a tiny Shetland pony.
Oh my god.
How was your race, Michael?
I ran with our friend Megan. It was not bad. Spoiler, I felt worse at the end of Bird in Hand than I did after Rocking the Knob. Unfortunately, I can never run Bird in Hand ever again. My allergies just do not match up with this race whatsoever.
The cornfields and them working on the cornfields.
I literally had to stop running at mile 12 and a half because I couldn't breathe anymore. And I honestly felt like I was going to have a heart attack at the end of the race. My chest was so tight.
Yeah, he came across the finish line and I was like, oh my God, why does he look so bad?
I didn't even like run it that hard or anything. We ran a pretty normal pace, nothing crazy, just like a training run kind of thing. And I told Megan, I'm like, just go. I'm like, I got to stop. Like, I can't even breathe. Like, it slowly got worse through the entire race until it was to the point where it was so bad that I just couldn't do anything. But it is like, if you don't have allergy issues, it's great.
Yeah.
It's a really nice.
Fall allergies have been really bad this year. Like, everyone's been kind of talking about how bad it's been for
like
people.
Cornfields, and they're working them, and you're running right next to them and all that. So, but it's definitely super scenic. We did have an incident where we were going back and forth. Like, the pace we were running was just over 2 hours, and what we didn't know, like, so there was this group of 3 guys running with us. They were doing intervals. So we just kept going back and forth with them forever, for like an hour or more, actually. But they were talking so much, and we were like, oh, dear God. Like, oh, my God. Like, and they were clearly coaching the one guy to help him. So what we didn't know until the end was, because, I'm not, like, steeped in Jeff Galloway knowledge or whatever, but apparently it was Chris Twiggs trying to coach a guy to 2 hours, and Megan and I were so annoyed. But like, I feel bad. Like, it was so, like, the fact that he drove 17 hours for one of the people he coaches to get the guy to 2 hours is amazing.
Incredible.
And like a testament to like him as a coach.
Yeah.
But for us running the race next to him, it was like the most annoying thing in the world. When you're in a race and then you're stuck with people and then like you're hearing their conversation the whole time, it's like, all right.
And he was trying to
Can
be
I-
super extra coachy because he was helping
he was
someone
really helping
to
the guy.
to
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
so
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like knowing the full story. Like in the moment, obviously, we're both like, "Oh, dude, come on! Like, you're killing us, right?"
For those who are not familiar with Chris Twiggs, he is a coach with the Galloway
Yeah,
group who does like some a lot of training. There's
Yes.
what's the name of the training program?
I don't know. Customized.
Customized, yeah.
yeah.
Rise and Run talks about a lot.
Yeah.
Most of them are actually coached by Chris Twiggs. So when we got to the finish and we saw all the Rise and Run crew and we were talking about it,
God,
we were like,
dude.
"Is Chris Twiggs here?" And they were like, "Oh yeah, he's coaching someone." I was like, "That's him."
Well, because at the end, so Megan and I get to like mile 12 and a half. You come up that hill and make the right turn to head down the hill.
Yeah.
So like we're coming up that hill, and she's like, I gotta pass these people before the end. Like I can't deal with this. She's like, I'm just gonna sprint to the finish. I'm like,
I
God,
love
I'm
it.
like, because I can't breathe. So feel free to go sprint ahead because I can't sprint because I can't even breathe. So I'm like, I felt kind of bad afterwards. I'm like, oh, yeah. I mean, he just drove from freaking Jacksonville or wherever he lives to Birmingham, Pennsylvania to coach a guy to 2 hours.
I love
Unfortunately, the guy missed it by a couple minutes, but I mean, as a coach to do that, that's pretty.
Yeah.
I would say that's
really
pretty
cool.
impressive, regardless of how annoyed Megan and I were during the entire race. It was pretty impressive.
I'm just getting flashbacks of like Shamrocks when we're fun running it,
Oh God,
And-
everybody is annoyed as hell.
Oh, everyone hates
and
us.
half the group. I'm not naming names, but they're on this podcast. Half the group is screaming the entire time. And then Michael's like, absolutely not. And he just takes off. He's like, I'm
Yeah.
not dealing with this.
It's got to be bad to run with me anyway because I literally talk the entire time. Like when Nicole and I've been running a ton together. She must want to kill me because I literally just talk at her the entire time. I'm like, oh, this is what I think about this, and this is what's happening at work, and this is me, and blah blah blah. Like the whole time. It's got to be. And I said to Tom, because Tom left and went up to New York for a concert. And so Nicole and Ryan drove me home. And in retrospect, on the way home, I just talked at Ryan literally the entire time he was driving. I was like, I bet he wanted to kill me. I said it to Tom, yesterday or the day before? I was like, Ryan wanted to murder me because I talked at him for 2 hours on the way home.
Oh boy. So the race ended. Everyone finished successfully.
Yep.
We
Yep,
saw the Rise and Run crew again. Hung out with them for a little while. Took
we got a
some
photo.
pictures. Yep.
Mhm.
Well, they'll be on our episode art.
Oh, we met another member.
Yeah, we met John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was cheering Bob and Greg on.
Yep.
That's awesome. But yeah, it's a great little race. It's a lot bigger
It was like 1,700
than you think it's
People.
going to be.
for the half.
The finisher party is actually really amazing.
That's
They
pretty
have
cool,
all kinds of Amish. They have chicken, like roasted chicken and potato
Ribs.
salad and ribs and it's desserts and
Yeah.
The
cake
desserts were
and
great.
yeah,
Soft serve.
ice cream, like full soft serve ice cream machines there. But the chicken and the ribs were like they have this spice on them that Sam, who is local there, says is like an Amish spice that you can go to like the farmers markets and like everything's seasoned with this. I mean, it's so flavorful and so good. Really well done. The line for the food was insane as well.
I got up right away and gotten that.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm sorry, I can't talk.
Luckily,
I gotta
people
eat.
didn't realize that the rib line was kind of separate from the rest of the food. So we, at the end, when you guys crossed, were able to get some ribs pretty quickly.
Last thing I'll say about Bird in Hand is the water stops are managed by Amish children, young adults. And when you're coming up on a water stop, you either hear one of two things. You hear water, 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 and it's all jovial. Water, 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 water. Great. So you get your water. Or at other stops, you hear water, water, in like unison, in perfect unison, and it freaks you out.
Oh, yeah. I had
Children
to
of the
actually
Corn.
spend
Little
like 20 minutes during that race explaining the Children of the Corn movie
Malachi.
to
Oh my god.
to Nicole because she's never seen it. She's like, "What are you talking about?"
Bless them. They put on a great race. They really do.
Yes. And it's a huge event for them. Like the amount of people that come in to do this race, it's always rated on Runner's World's most scenic race courses because it's rolling, beautiful countryside of Pennsylvania, cornfields everywhere. Like you said, all the farm animals. It's a beautiful course. But something that when I was talking to somebody while I was just waiting for you guys, someone was saying how much it means to this community to do it every year. And it's like a big thing for them and how much they love having it there.
I love it.
So it's a huge deal for them. It brings in a lot of income to their little tiny town, and it's just like a big community event for them. So if you guys ever get a chance, Bird in Hand half marathon in Pennsylvania.
I would definitely go cheer again. I just wouldn't run it again. Just because
hilly.
of personal, just because of allergies.
The allergies and time of year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Time of year.
But
it's
hilly,
a great
it's
event. Challenging,
yeah.
but it's great. And I always took water from the littlest one. They're so cute.
They are
the
cute.
Kids are so cute. Like they're so and they're just so happy to see you. Like they're just they're so happy to see you. So, and then we went to Victory Brewing.
Oh yeah.
I did flights and got slightly buzzed and then talked Ryan's ear off for 2 hours on the way home.
All right. We should get into the next one.
Let's get into it.
Episode doesn't end up being 800 years long.
Yeah.
Good luck.
The knob.
So the next
the
race,
rise of the knob.
It's the rise of the knob. Rocking the knob.
We are back again.
For Tom, it's part 2.
Part 2, yeah.
For Michael and I, it was part 3, but really only not part
3 for me, part 2 for you.
2.5.
Part 1 for me. I've never been. I've never ran it. I realized when we were there that I've never even been at a trail race before.
Oh, because you never went to Tom's other ones down in Maryland? Okay.
No, she didn't. The local one that's 5 minutes from here? No, she did not.
No, it was COVID. I wasn't allowed.
That's true.
Well,
Actually, that's
true.
very true. That's
Actually,
very true.
that
Spectators
is
were not
right.
allowed.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right. Because the first time, that's right. Oh, and also we realized you had never met Melanie before.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. We went to dinner with Melanie and her husband,
and I didn't
Jeremy.
even introduce myself because I felt like I knew her.
Yeah.
She's like, have we met?
I didn't realize until you guys said that. I'm like, oh, wait.
Yeah.
They have never met.
Well, because I forgot that you weren't there last year. And Michael was like, why wasn't she there last year? I was like, weren't you studying? Didn't you use that
test.
as like that big weekend that you were going to study for while Tom was away?
I had a test and then I was doing dry try at Orange Theory.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remembered that there was a reason why you didn't go, and you figured you would just take that weekend to like do a major study session since Tom would be away for that big test you were taking.
Yep, and honestly, it's inconveniently far away. So if he decides he wants to do it again, he may be on his own.
Thanks, dear. Here's the thing. So, Rockin' the Knob is it's a trail race. There's a 10K, a half, and a full. It's in the Blue Knob State Park on basically the ski mountain.
Yeah, Blue Knob Mountain. Yeah.
Blue Knob Mountain. And it, so there's absolutely no cell phone reception anywhere. It's a dead zone.
I had a touch of service.
Last year, I felt like I had a touch more service. I don't really know what happened this year. I literally every so often, like I said, I'd get something random, but really nothing enough to do anything with. So, but we all drove up Friday evening. It's a Saturday morning race. We had dinner at Horn O'Plenty for the second time in Bedford, PA. And we were joined by Melanie and Jeremy.
Yep.
Lovely time. Good food.
Yep. Nice farm to table kind of place. Really
They
good.
stayed at the Airbnb that was right above there. And the rest of us stayed at the hotel we've sort of always stayed at.
that's half hour away from the race because there's nothing in between.
It's true.
Closest town, unless you get an Airbnb at the resort,
Yeah.
which was almost as much money. And I don't know.
Yeah, it was.
We also waited till the last minute and didn't make any big decisions for some reason, and whatever. So morning of, we drove up there. We were all the marathon takes off at 8. The half marathon takes off at 9, and the 10K takes off at 10. Everyone kind of wanted to see Michael off, so everyone was there pretty early, 7:15, 7:30.
Yeah, 7:30. Yeah.
We saw our race director friend Ben.
He's sadistic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It is a super not stressful start, though. Like,
Very chill.
Very chill.
Super chill.
People get there, park
Roll
along the
around.
road,
Yep.
get set up, get their bibs.
I mean, you literally park at the start line.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
And
not
I don't
like
know if all trail races are like that, but
Generally,
like
yeah.
everyone were just like milling
Hey.
around, and they're like, "Oh, I guess we should walk over here now." Like it's not like a road race where people are like super intense the entire morning.
No,
and
that's
then,
really-
like
that is-
everyone's in line 45 minutes before it goes.
No, that's generally what it is. I mean, when you think about like Vanessa's races, the Big Woods race, you think about all the races. That's sort of what it is. They're all just very chill.
you get a few people up front who are really, gunning, who will be a little more.
Yeah, but
intense
it's like
and ready,
5
but-
people, not
Yeah.
like 300 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
We're like, guys, you need to like calm it down. Like take
Yeah.
it down a few notches.
Yeah. No, everybody there is just like, yeah, I guess I'll throw on my vest and wander up to the start line and.
And it's super friendly. There's dogs
Yeah.
all around. You're petting dogs. You're like, people are just walking around saying hi, like even if you don't really know them. Like it's just a totally different like feel. It really is. I mean, we've kind of always said that trail races just have a different feel to them.
Yeah.
Michael took off.
It's 8 a.m.
I'm gonna before Michael, we do some race recaps. I'll insert. Tom had a Price of Fame moment
Oh,
right after
I
you
didn't
had-
hear about this till the ride home.
when you took off. We went and there was a crew with Knobsylvania,
As in
like
Blue
Rockin' the Knob
Blue Knob. Yeah.
and Pennsylvania put together. They were selling some gear, and so we went over to buy some gear. We're standing there, and I don't know, somebody said something about podcast, and the woman who's selling the gear says, "Oh my God, are you guys the Will Run For podcast?" And we were like, "Yeah." And she comes over and she starts hugging us.
Lark.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was so sweet. And so Tom's like, "Oh my God, people know us." And so we have this whole thing. And then as we're standing there, our friend Brooke, who we had met a few minutes earlier, comes over, and I guess they all knew each other. And she says to Brooke, "Oh my God, I just met the Will Run For crew." And I didn't hear this, but Tom did. And so
I sure
Tom
heard it.
taps me on the shoulder. He's like, "Oh my God, did you hear that? Did you hear that?" I was like, "What?" She's like,
First of all,
"They
I wasn't
know
like I
us."
played it a little bit cooler. I was like, Aaron,
played it a little
Aaron,
cooler.
obviously we have a reputation here.
And I think it's because we had Ben on and did like a Rockin' the Knob recap. I guess this is our third recap of Rockin' the Knob.
Yeah. And we've had Ben
So-
on.
Yeah,
race director,
so I think
so-
it's just people.
Yes. Which is
At the
why
race now.
they said that they had found us. They heard Ben's episode, and then they went back into our backlog catalog and started listening to some other things. And so now, it was super fun though. It's a great
Yeah,
time.
that's awesome.
That was cool.
Yeah. And we got to meet Brooke Shamwow and her husband
Mhm.
Brad. So that was really awesome too. And hung out with
Oh, yeah,
them
they
a
were
little
really
bit
fun.
before. Tom has a new soulmate.
Me and Brad.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. He's a cool, cool guy. Cool guy.
Yeah, so I just wanted to bring up our Price of Fame moment that Tom enjoyed.
I'm just saying, when I meet someone with really good taste in music, it sits with me.
Yeah.
So shout out to Brad.
Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
No. So we saw Michael off,
Yep.
and then
And then people were like starting to show up, and they were like, "Tom, what's going on with your shoes?"
here's the thing.
Everyone said something.
A running theme
Oh
throughout
my god.
this recap is going to be mistakes were made. Mistakes were absolutely made. I made a few different mistakes. The first of which Diana pointed out. I had in my head. So I had thought I'm just going to briskly hike a half marathon through the woods, right?
Well, honestly, there's not a lot of running area on that half course anyway.
So I wore hiking boots.
They're
After
heavy.
he solicited feedback for 6 months on
Didn't we
what
all
type of
tell
trail
him-
shoes to buy.
Yes.
To
It was
get
like
the
3
high
months.
top trail shoes.
And
yeah.
Brad had a pair of the speed goats on that were high top. So we had a little chat with him about those. And then Melanie had recommended the ultra high tops. And I think Michael recommended the Solomon high tops.
Yeah.
So what happened there, Tom?
I felt like Melanie was personally offended. She's
She
like, I
was.
literally sent you a link.
She did. Here's the thing. You can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make him drink.
I heard that
So-
Tom had some of them in his cart.
I apologize that I asked for this this advice,
Oh
and
my
then I
God.
literally bought concert tickets instead of shoes. That was the first mistake. But I mean, my shoes were definitely tight enough, and they definitely protected my ankle. So I was just trudging through and not worried about really rolling an ankle.
It
must
was
have been
so
heavy, though.
funny.
Mentally, that was
Weckerly
cool.
walked up and because he was supposed to run with you, and he was like, "Did you not buy shoes?"
Yes.
That was like the first thing out of his
Also,
mouth.
let's talk about how. Okay, so the Weckerly and Angie were there, and they text us at like we barely were getting service, and we did manage to get this text where they're like, the half marathon starts at 9, and the text we get is we're just getting in the car now. We should be ETA is 9 or 8:50, and Tom is literally turns to us and goes, "That's my worst nightmare."
Unacceptable. It all panned out fine, but I'm like, he's just gonna he would catch me no matter what, but like he's just gonna have to catch me because I am not waiting.
And then so they really did get there at like exactly 8:50. Like Ben's already out doing his pre-race stuff, and Andrew's going over to get his bib and like getting everything all put on, like
Oh my God.
as he's
it's
doing his
amazing.
pre-race stuff, and he was like ready at like 8:58 to go.
Yeah,
See, he only needed
he was
8
all
minutes.
he forgot his phone.
Oh
He
yeah,
left
he
it in
didn't
the
bring his
stroller.
phone on the trail.
It's useless out there anyway,
It's
honestly.
true.
It really is.
But he did say that there was like a couple places he would have liked to have taken pictures.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
you know.
Well, for me, that was
Yeah.
useless too because I got to the overlook and went to take a picture, and I was locked out of my phone for an hour because I had sweat all over it,
Ugh.
and it wasn't
Terrible.
working.
God.
So there was
Yeah.
that.
Well, so then they take off, and then we're left with Melanie and Angie, who are running the 10K.
oh yeah, because Jeremy ran the half too.
Oh, and, yeah, Melanie's
Oh, yep.
husband Jeremy was doing the half, and
Yes.
that was his
His
first
first
half
half.
marathon.
Mhm.
Yes. And
Picked a hell of a half to start.
Oh yeah.
for the record, the night before, he did say
Oh,
at
God.
dinner that when we asked him what he was expecting to do, he was like, 3 hours. And we're like, oh, wow, that's a lofty goal. And he was like, well, there's no point in driving up here if I'm going to do a half marathon in more than 3 hours. And we were all like, no one said anything. And we were like,
Uh-oh.
okay. Like no one knew what to say.
It's hard
Jeremy,
to
we love
know
you.
unless you've done this race.
Yes.
It's hard to know the
love you.
conditions
It's fine.
in those woods and on those
Yeah.
mountains. It's
Well,
I
really
will say,
difficult.
it's not like we ran Labor Pains a few weeks ago, which is a typical, I would say, East Coast type trail race. It's got
Yeah.
climbing, it's got hills, got some rocks and things like that. Like Labor Pains is like here and Rocking the Knob's up here, and if you can't see that, my one hand is like 3 foot higher than the other. It's like so like your basic trail race is one thing. Rocking the Knob is like graduate level trail running.
Well, I mean, it's like it's considered like PA's like hardest 10K course. It's like the, number
10K
2
course is insane.
It's like the number
Yeah.
2 half or marathon course in the Northeast.
No, it's like this. Well,
It's the second hardest.
7th in the Northeast, 1st in Pennsylvania.
Second in Pennsylvania, I think. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. It's really hard.
Regardless,
It's
it's incredibly
really hard.
Yeah.
It's very
Um,
technical.
Yeah.
So Jeremy took off. We were left with Angie and and Melanie. Diana and I were put in charge of baby Winter, who is freaking adorable.
Oh, she's so cute.
And so then they took off. And instead, Diana and I stayed behind and cheered. And now I guess you guys can race recap.
Yeah, I'll do
Oh,
the
yeah,
marathon
races were-
first since it's pretty easy. I don't know if there's not too much to it, but quick description from their site is Rockin' the Knob, one of the Mid-Atlantic's region's most physically demanding races, with 250 feet of climbing per mile on your legs.
God.
But that also means there's 250 feet of descent per mile on your legs because you're going up and down because you're finishing and starting at the same place. So for every mile, you're going up and down 250 feet essentially. So every time you're going down, you're going back up. If there's a long downhill, you're going back up.
I don't remember reading this description. Our sadistic race directors here embedded challenges that are designed to mess with the heads of even the most seasoned trail runner.
Definitely, 100%.
That is the description.
It worked.
So, all right, I'll get into the marathon. So, I started off, it was fine. I was like, I know I need to run everything I can run because I know I need to make the cutoffs, and I know the back end is hard. So the first 15 miles, I was cruising. I had some, 10:30s, 10:15s running downhill and stuff. So even my climbs, I had under 20-minute miles on some of the climbs. So I'm like, all right, I know if I get to mile, I think my target was if I get to mile 14, I was around a little over 4 hours or something like that. Maybe mile 15, I was a little over 4 hours. I was like, I know the back end is going to be about the same amount as that, even though it's only another, it's less mileage, but it's exponentially harder. This race is backloaded. The marathon is backloaded. You get so tricked. I think I ran a half in a little over a half marathon in a little over 3 hours. So yeah, it must have been mile 15. I was closing in on 4 hours, but then around 15 and a half, you hit this climb and it just goes.
Is that the waterfall climb
I don't
that
know
Tom
if
had
it's
to do?
Yeah, that one's there. I don't know if that's that one. I forget. But there's two big climbs before you get. No, the waterfall one's right before
The
Quitter's Row.
Oh.
So that's it, right?
The before Quitter's Row is the ski slope.
Oh,
the
yeah,
waterfall
right.
is
the waterfall's
before,
at 15 to 16.
Yeah, the waterfall is the one before the one where we dropped last year around mile 18.
All right, so you get to you're cruising along. I mean, cruising relative term. It's super technical the whole way, regardless. There are areas where you can run and stuff though. It's just very rocky. You really got to pay attention. So then you get to the ravine where you're just climbing up the waterfall for 1.5 miles.
Tom enjoyed that.
And it is relentless climbing. It is 10%, almost 10% grade the whole way for 1.5 miles, just nonstop.
It's unbelievable.
It's rock steps, mossy rocks, crossing back and forth over the waterfall that's slippery.
You know what the word we kept hearing over and over and over again yesterday was? When we how was it? What was it like? And we were getting feedback from people. Multiple people said, it's just mean. Why is it so mean?
It is mean.
So there was a group of 4 or 5 people I was around most of the time. And a bunch of them passed me on that hill eventually. And I was like, oh, wow, they're really, really going good. So I was like, I'm just going to keep doing what I got to do because I know I got a bunch more climbs. So I was taking breaks and just trying to be smart because I knew I had a lot coming up.
Yeah.
And so I had plenty of time. I was well under, cutoffs and stuff. But we got the word at the beginning of the day that the ski slopes had massive washouts on them from a heavy rainstorm. And I mean massive. And not just washouts, it blew loose giant rocks all over the ski slope. So there was it was treacherous going down the ski slope. And so you're basically going down like a mile of ski slope, like just nonstop, very steep. And then all of a sudden you turn right and have to go straight up a ski slope that's super steep.
Oh my
That's
God.
like 500 feet high or something. And you're literally just climbing up the grassy ski slope. And so I got there and my quads and groin locked up as I turned to make the climb up from running down or from slowing myself down going down the ski slope. And so I'm like, oh God, like everything's locking up. And eventually I just started climbing, took my time. I would take breaks on the way up. And that's right before you get back to Quitter's Row, which is the start finish area before you go out on the 10K course for the back end of the marathon.
Yeah, that's where I came and saw you, because Quitter's Row is right next to the
start finish.
The start
That's what I
finish.
just said, yeah.
Yeah, so I came running up to you to see how you were.
I was like just zapped
I was
because
like,
you use so much energy in that
So you said.
section.
Yeah.
It's like insane.
Were people just going down on their butts, like going down the ski slope on their butts because it was so like
you're talking you had massive rocks like this big all over the place
God.
because of the rain there were like washouts that were 2-3 feet deep.
Oh my God.
Right next to you, where it was just all rock just blown out everywhere.
Somebody said they saw people going down on their butts.
I mean, it could have been. There are some areas that are very steep.
I thought it was you. Maybe it was Jeremy then. I'm not sure.
Me.
Somebody said something about seeing people on their butts.
That's very possible. I would not do that. I would not recommend it. So, I should have taken more calories. Like that section, I really needed more calories for than I took in. But not like I wasn't like super deficient. So at the Quitter's Row aid station, I did pound a lot of stuff. And
it was funny because we saw you coming and Erin like ran in her freaking boot like a lunatic over.
Which somebody yelled at me.
We're like, is she gonna make it worse or better if she goes over there? We're like,
no, it was fine.
And we said at the end it was good.
Yeah, I knew I needed
a pep talk.
I needed to take a minute there and just reset after that because it is such a grind, that section. It's 2.5 miles of just straight down and straight up, crushing you.
And when I came over, I was like, "Are you good?" And you're like, "I don't know if I'm going to keep going." I'm like, "You're going to keep going," and he's like, "I guess." I'm like, "Yes, just keep going. You're fine." Like you've got, and even the guy when
I had
overheard us
3 hours,
and he was like, "You can do a 10K in like 2.5 hours. Like you're fine. You've got plenty of time." And I was like, "Yeah, you have to go back out. You can't stop now."
Yeah. So what I did, I took in a bunch of calories. I had actually taken some calories right before getting to the aid station. And then at the aid station I took a bunch, had some Cokes and stuff too, and just really like, and I set my mind to, I'm just gonna hike, because from there you leave there and you go like it's 3.5 miles to the Throat Punch Hill aid station right before you climb Throat Punch Hill. So you go for like 1.5 miles, 2 miles where it's like slightly going downhill, and then it drops like 1,000 feet down to Throat Punch Hill.
Oh my God.
And on these like real loose rock roads. So I was like, I am just going to hike to there so I can I know I am going to need a ton of energy to get up Throat Punch. So I got to recover in this 2.5 miles. So I just hiked. So two of the people who I had passed at some point on the climbs, on the later climbs that were on the earlier climbs that had passed me, we've been going back and forth a lot, were running this section and ran past me. And we were all some of the last finishers. So like they passed me and I'm like, oh, well, good for them. But so I got to Throat Punch Hill aid station, and basically at each aid station they have a sign for what the next section is with the elevation and all. The Throat Punch Hill one is 2.5 miles, 1,400 feet of climbing, 450 feet of descent in 2.5 miles to end the race. That's to end the marathon or whatever you want to call it. It's like 27 miles or whatever. So I'm like, all right. So I got some more stuff at that aid station. I'm like, just going to keep moving forward, and that's it. I was like, I got time. I was like, I just need to be steady on and throw punch hill is a grind.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, it is.
The top part of it is harder than the bottom part, but the bottom part is longer. So you're basically going like the bottom part, you're doing like a 30% grade for like a mile or half mile or whatever it is. It's like you're just going up, stopping at trees. Like you have to stop at a tree so you don't fall down the hill
Yes.
and like lean on the tree. Like that's how you get up.
Oh, God.
So you go up, and you stop at a tree, take a break. And like I passed the two of them on Throat Punch Hill and I actually went up it pretty fast and steadily. Like for me.
WEC was like, part of the problem is like there's actual trail up there, but then
you're not
Ben
on it.
just sends you up like a freaking hill, like he was like a goddamn goat.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand, like why there's an actual trail and he just ignores it and then sends you up the side of a
because there's
freaking hill.
switchbacks. That's what I said the first time. There's switchbacks. There's like a perfectly good trail you can just keep going on. Instead, he's like, turn right and just go up the giant steep thing instead of taking the switchback.
Yeah.
Well, the worst part, so I get to the top of Throat Punch. I sit down for a minute. I'm like, let me catch my breath, get my heart rate down. And then you're on just a gravel road. It's very rocky, but you're on a road, like a fire road. And I'm like, all right, now I'll start hiking. I'm going to hike to the next section. I know there's more climb to go. So you're going down this road, and then you just see the caution tape, and you're like, oh, man. Because the caution tape means there's a turn there, essentially. And that's that climb that is like 42% grade or something.
It's called upper throat punch.
It's upper throat punch. It is so steep. You literally use your hands and feet to climb it.
Yeah.
Like the lady I had passed on throat punch caught up to me. The guy, he had kind of faded. He finished about 20 minutes behind us. She caught up to me, and then I was like, yeah, I'm feeling all right. She had lagged back a little bit, and I got to upper throat punch. I think I trotted up there. And so I literally clawed my way to the top of it and then took a break at the top again because that one's not as long. It's short, but it is literally you can't stop on it or you will slide down it.
That was when Angie came back from it. Like did you see how her hands were like just full of dirt because she'd been clawing up the mountain?
Yeah. She's like, where can I wash my hands? We're like, there's hand sanitizer over by the porta potties.
So I get up that and I'm like, oh, Jesus. So then you're on another fire road again. So I'm just walking at that point. I'm like, I got plenty of time. I'm through the hardest part of this. I'm just going to hike it out to the end. And she's basically on the fire road below me, below that hill. And I hear, oh my God. I'm like, oh, I was like, yep, I know what just happened. And so I was just really taking my time, just, I knew I was going to finish, so I didn't care. Like, if I finished at 8:30 or 8:20, who cares? It doesn't matter. So she caught back up to me, and we kind of walked the last like mile or so together. And she's like, she's like starting to try. She's like, oh God, I can't run. I was like, yeah, me either. But she was trying to get to the finish before her watch died. So we were just like speed hiked it as best we could. And then once we came out of the woods and saw the finish line, trotted to the finish line. And that was it. It was like, it was warm. It was 80 degrees out yesterday. The 10K course was really hot at that point in the day. And it was the 10K course is just relentless. It is relentless. It's so hard. Like the 10K is you go straight down and you go straight up. It's just
I think that's
nonstop.
The meanest part about it is that you have to go straight. Like it's not like you get to go down at the end. It's like you go straight down for 3 miles and then they make you go straight back up for 3 miles. So the last part of the marathon is straight up. It's like mean. We're back to it's mean.
It is mean.
Yeah, it's like, but I finished. That's all I wanted to do. I was happy with that. I'm glad I did run hard to start the race and bank time. I really made sure I concentrated because last year that's where we screwed up. We were trying to conserve energy in the beginning for all the stuff at the end.
Yeah.
and we went too slow and ended up missing the cutoff.
Yeah.
So this time I was like, I am going to bank my time early because I know what's coming at the end.
And even when we talked about in our post, what we normally do when we do our post race evaluation, just between the two of us, that was one of the things we said was we thought that conserving the energy in the beginning was the right thing, but if we did it again, we were going to have to make sure we ran out the first part of it where there was actual runnable sections.
Yeah.
And so he basically heeded what we said.
Yeah, I was like, I need to put in as much, time between me and a cutoff now, because at the end you're not making anything up.
Yeah.
Like you're not making up time on Throat Punch Hill or anything
Yeah.
else, Even if you climb it well, you're not putting any time between you and the cutoff, really.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful course. I filled up my water bottle on the waterfall climb and drank the water. I should have brought a filter with me. That would have been smarter, but it didn't bother me regardless. So I did have some nice fresh mountain water on the way up. And I finished and I was happy with that. And other than if Aaron wants to run the full again, I will most likely only do the half going forward, but who knows?
He said that last year, and then he signed up for the marathon this year. So I don't believe anything he said. He also, on the way to the race, accidentally started his watch somehow in his bag.
Oh God!
And declared when he found his watch his watch, and it was like had been running all night, and he wasn't sure what percentage of battery he was going to have left. He was like, "I give up. I'm never running a race ever again." And I was like. Okay, that's the appropriate reaction.
I mean, that's fine. That's fine. None of us have ever acted that way, Aaron.
I did remember all my nutrition, though.
Yay!
Hey,
that's a start.
baby steps.
Oh man, let me tell you, when your quads and groin lock up, it's not a great feeling.
Oh God.
Oh, that was the thing. Like, so I had the issue with my quads on the ski slope when I went on the 10K thing. I'm just hiking, right? About a mile and a half in, my right quad starts cramping up as I'm walking, and it is like painful. And I'm like, I have to just keep moving. Like I can't. And thankfully, like it just worked itself out. Like I was able to hike through it, but it was it's not a great feeling.
No.
I'll tell you that. But
Tom.
other than that, only turned my ankle a couple times, but it's totally fine and no big deal. So all healthy otherwise.
Nice.
Good.
Tom, how was your race?
So I'm not going to go into obnoxious detail because I already posted about it on social media, but I will say that mistakes were made. I don't think I respected the race enough in my head, like in hindsight. And it's hard to know, but I did the 10K and yeah, that was terrible. But like, I'm like looking at the elevation or what I thought was the elevation. And I'm like, well, I could put another 6 or so miles in front of that as long as it's relatively flat.
There is no.
And be prepared for it. That was dumb. Like I kept making mental dumb mistakes. So I wore the wrong shoes. I did have a hydration pack, which was the first time I used it, which worked out fine, actually. Worked out perfectly fine. So that was great.
I burped your bladder.
You did burp my bladder, which was
you learned an important lesson
brought
on
us
how
closer.
not to slosh. Yes. How not to slosh.
Yeah, it was sloshing around in the hotel room. He was like, he filled it up and then did like a little like run in the hotel room. I was like, there's something going on with your bladder.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, if you burp your bladder, it means you get all the air out so that it doesn't make that sloshing noise.
All day.
Yeah.
So,
but there was also, you kept meaning to do like training and you were going to go up to like Patapsco State Park and all that. And then you just never did.
Didn't train on trails once for this particular race. In my head, we had done a 10-miler, a 12-miler, a half marathon the 3 weeks prior, so I was like, so I can do the distance. Yeah, I can do the distance on flat ground. Fine.
Not with 3,500 feet of elevation.
Not respecting the race. Like, I did not respect this race, and it humbles the hell out of you.
Oh, it will.
I
immediately
almost wonder if you would have been better in sneakers rather than your hiking boots, not trail sneakers, just your regular running.
I don't think there would have
shoes.
been enough traction.
No.
And
No.
I don't think there would have been enough ankle support. My whole thing in life is rolling an ankle is just the worst thing. But anyways,
Not everyone had shoes with ankle support.
no, because I have a whole opinion on trail runners. It's amazing.
What's that opinion?
That we don't care about our ankles.
That we don't care about her?
Understand because I'm going through some of these sections, most of the race, and I'm just staring at my feet, which I have high ankle boots on that are very my ankles are very protected. Like if I slipped, everything's going down. I'm not rolling an ankle. And
you could still roll.
See,
an ankle
here's the
if you
thing,
had.
though.
not with the protection that I had, just because anyways, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but like I had the wrong shoes on.
But I do want to go down that rabbit hole for 1 second. I actually have had like hiking boots that are like high, and I actually don't like them because they don't allow my ankles to move. I actually, on those kinds of rocks, I want some movement so that like my whole leg isn't turning.
Yeah, because if your ankle's not moving enough, then like when you lose grip or something, you're gonna blow out your knee.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I
and
sort of...
my ankle. Okay, so I don't want to talk out of two sides of my mouth. Like I was well protected, and it was very supported, but there was definitely some movement, but not like. Anyways, I was fine, but I was looking at my feet. I was looking at my feet for 4.5 hours. But anyways, so we started out with Weckerly, and we're making some good time. My whole thought process was if I could maintain a 20-minute mile throughout this entire thing, I'd be fine.
Which is true.
And we did for 6 or so miles. And then we get to one part and we're making good time. We're chit-chatting. You know, Weckerly's doing that thing where he asks me for my opinion on something. And then when I give an opinion, he tells me it's the wrong opinion. We had a custard versus soft serve ice cream debate. Maybe we'll post a poll, but no, it was going great. And then we start on one climb, and he just keeps getting further and further away. And we hear that the sweeper has passed us. And so, which is weird about being in those woods, because like people can come up on you and then disappear and you don't hear anything.
Yeah.
So I lost Weckerly, but I had always told him, and I kept repeating it, if you want to go, just keep going. So now I'm by myself at like mile 7, and I'm just trudging.
But you guys had gotten slightly off course, right? And that's part of the reason why
we went off course one time, and for like just a little bit, and then we got back on, and then we saw a random hiker, and she was like, "Hey, you guys with the race?" And we're like, "Yeah." She's like, "I just saw your pacer." So Weckerly just kind of, he's already leading me for like a good bit. And then he just kept going, and I just couldn't catch him. So he just went.
Yeah.
Fine. But now it's me by myself. And I'm just going, and then I get to the part where it's this long valley, and there's like basically like a creek that's running down the middle of it with waterfalls. It was beautiful. And you just keep going back and forth over it, and it's just a long grind of a climb. And like this one guy came up on me with poles, and like he had to sit down next to me because his quads were locking up, and he's like, "Give me a minute." I'm like, "Do you need help?" I asked him if I could help him, knowing full well that I had nothing that I could do to help this man.
It's the thought that counts.
So you know, I kept going, but I'd have to stop every so often because my heart was beating out of my chest.
Yep.
And my legs are absolutely on fire. Like my hamstrings, my quads, everything is just on fire. Like it was such a grind. And in my head, now I'm by myself in the woods. And in my head, I'm starting to quit. I was starting to quit. And then the pacer guy, or the sweeper guy was right behind me. Very nice guy. His name's Aaron. He's from West Virginia. He does custom cabinetry work. We got to know each other.
You got to know each other very well.
He was the most, and you guys saw him at the end of the race. He was the most laid back dude in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was not pushing me. He was like, "Do you want me to talk to you? Do you want me to hang back?" I'm like, "Are you just here for me?"
Yes.
Like literally, this one sweeper was just on my heels the entire time and just stopping. He wasn't pushing me. He was just stopping, giving me little pep talks. You know, he wasn't bothering me. I'm like, do you need to sweep me? Like, honestly, because it's just me and you on this mountain and I'm taking forever and I don't have anything else in my tank, buddy. And he's like, nah, man, it's cool, man. Just, we just do what we do. And I'm like, seriously, do you need to sweep me? Like, I don't, like in my head, I'm like,
please sweep me.
I'm like, I was at like mile. And so the tough part about Rocking the Knob is, like I said, if you set out to do a half marathon and you're thinking it's 13.1 miles,
it is not.
That's not the case.
No.
Because I think what the half distance actually ended up being was closer to 14, 15 miles.
Yeah.
Or it's something like
14
that.
and a half or something like that.
So,
yeah.
And that was slowly like I was realizing that, and I was like at mile 11 or something, and I'm like, I can't do 4 more miles, especially if I have to hit this one cutoff by 1:00, and then they moved it to 1:30, and so I'm all confused, and I'm like, when am I gonna just get picked up? Because because I can't breathe. My heart is beating harder than it's ever beaten. I'm, my lack of fitness was catching up with me, and then in my head I'm like, yeah, but you still put in a hell of an effort. So like my pride was not going to be hurt no matter what. I just wanted a human to be able to rescue me, and I couldn't do it myself. So he's like running ahead, and he's trying to get a GPS signal, and he's trying to figure out like where the nearest aid station was, and he found it, and then he's like, "Yeah, it's just a mile up this fire road," and I'm like, "Can they drive the car down the fire road?" He's like, "Nah," and I'm like, "All right." So I trudge up this thing, and they met me like, they were like, "Hey, cool, yeah, give me your bib." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." So I gave my bib. They gave me a beer. They gave me like a pickle juice shot, and I just sat there. I didn't
realize they gave you a beer. That's nice of them.
He was like, "Do you want a lager or an IPA?" I'm like, "I'd take
nice.
a lager, sir."
Oh, that was at the aid station right by the ski hill, right?
Is that where we
Yes.
got? Where
That's
we
where
got
you guys
swept?
picked us up last year.
Yeah, where we
That's
got.
where we found you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and we're all just chatting, and I'd say I got swept, but really I quit. I basically bowed out because I was like, I'm not going to make it. Like, I could either just I could go back into the woods
and be miserable,
or I could stop. And I'm like, you know what? That's fine. So yeah, hindsight being 2020, I definitely quit this race.
Well, and it was hard because I think he was texting us, but we weren't getting the text messages if that's what was happening. So we're at the finish line. We're all waiting, talking, like Angie and Melanie were back by that point. And then I'm looking, I was like, that's Weckerly. And Tom is not there. Like,
Yeah.
But then you pulled up in a car less than 5 minutes after.
Yeah, I was going to say it was like barely 5 minutes after.
Yeah.
We see you coming from the other direction. We out of a car. We're like, that's Tom getting out of a car.
Oh my God.
But by that time, Weckerly had sort of told us that you were behind the sweeper or with the sweeper, and that you likely got swept.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, if you were with the sweep, there's really nothing you could like. That's not a race where you're gonna make up time on the sweeper, especially at the section you were in.
Yeah.
Because I had to. And I was really trying to move faster, but like I'm looking at my watch. And I'm looking at like, how quickly I'm going, and I'm like, I'm barely moving. Like this is going to take forever, and I'm keeping this man out here by himself. And there are other racers here. Like, make a decision.
Well, you even said that you were physically stopping. So usually like you'll pick a random object and like walk with that thing. And you said you would walk to the tree and then stop for a minute and then walk to the next thing and then stop. Like you were.
Oh, that's because that was right after the climb up the ravine, right?
Yeah.
Yes. It was terrible.
There's just times where you just have to stop.
Yeah.
And it's demoralizing and it's humbling and it's like I had no motivation to keep going, but like the part that really sucked is going up that ravine with all those waterfalls. I would have loved to have stopped to take pictures, but I'm like, that's just more stopping. You're doing more stopping than you are physically moving, and you are not in a place where they could come get you. Like, you've got to get out of this place while you have energy in your body.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it is what it is, but I mean,
I'm proud of you.
I'm so proud of you.
Dude, that is a hard race.
It is.
For the entirety of the race. Even the easy parts are not easy.
Yeah.
So like that takes a different breed. And that's my thing about trail runners. Like, I don't see how people navigate that terrain and those loose rocks or those like rocks at different angles and different heights and narrowness and all of that as quickly as they do.
Yeah, I mean,
and
some
I know
of the
you're moving,
first finishers are insane.
I know you're moving real quick, so you might barely be making contact, but like the mental focus that you have to keep the entire race. Like if you're running like a Disney race, you're on flat ground or whatever, like you can kind of zone out because you know that your pavement is not going to vary. This thing varied a lot.
And I mean, they practice a lot. And then the other thing is you're very afraid of falling, where everyone I talk to, they're like, oh, we just fall all the time.
It's true.
We just fall all the time.
I fall a lot.
And we're okay with falling. We just fall a lot.
I fall a lot.
Yeah. Like everyone I talk to.
Like Melanie has said that she falls a lot. Yeah. Like, well, I just fall.
Brooke and her husband were saying that they fall all the time. Like everyone was just saying that they fall.
I stumble. I don't usually fall, but I've definitely fallen.
I mean, you just have to like learn that like you're probably going to fall at some point and it's just going to be okay.
Yeah. And that seemed to help them mentally. And they said because they're a little bit more okay with falling, a lot of times when they fall, it's almost more like a tuck and roll where they're kind of like loose. So they're not all like, 'cause a lot of times like, and I think what would happen to you, and I think honestly what happened to me when I hurt my knee and I fell, is that you kind of like lock up and everything's tight. And then you're more prone to injury. If you just like let yourself fall, then, makes it a little easier.
I mean, the problem is that also with falling, though, is that sometimes you're not expecting the moment that you're going to fall. So sometimes it's hard to react properly. But yes, like you just have to like accept, like there's nothing, once you start falling, there's nothing you can do about it. So you, like you said, you just kind of learn how, like once that you have that feeling of like, oh, I'm falling, you just kind of tuck yourself in and prepare for it.
Yeah.
The best that you can.
The best you can. Yeah.
I don't know. The last time I fell, it wasn't at that pace towards jagged rocks, which is all Rockin' the Knob is it's jagged, loose rocks.
The other obstacle that people were not expecting, especially for our 10K runners, was attacked by a swarm of bees.
Yeah, I was just gonna bring this up right now. I got some feedback. So I do have some feedback from everyone who ran with it. The swarm of bees
Weckerly, when he finished, said it was the hardest thing he's ever done.
So the swarm of bees comes up a few times in both Angie and Melanie's reviews.
Oh God. Okay.
So I'm just gonna read through them real quick. Melanie says, I was originally registered for the half, but dropped down to the 10K so I could see Jeremy over the finish line for his first half because, picking this as your first half is smart. I had a little FOMO all morning, but the 10K course did not disappoint. Close to a mile in, somebody stepped on a yellow jacket nest and they started attacking everyone. And I got stung 3 times. God. I'm not 100% convinced that those bees weren't planted by the race director because it just seems par for the course.
I wouldn't put it past him.
Ben, did you plant those?
Did you plant
the yellow
bees?
jacket nest? The climbs were brutal, but the course was beautiful, and I managed to finish in the top 3 of my age group.
She's
Yeah,
a
you
queen.
did.
Yeah, Melanie. So yeah, the yellow jacket nest. Her feedback. After she said when she crossed the finish line, she was telling Diana and I that like she could just hear people screaming ahead of her.
God.
And by
She
the
said you would just hear screaming.
and by the time she realized what was happening, and that like because they had run through, so they were already screaming, so it was too late, and they had already like started. As soon as she started hearing them screaming, she felt something on her, and then she felt the sting, and it was too late, so she's screaming, and then behind her she's hearing screaming, and everyone's
God.
just screaming.
It's just unbelievable. And they hurt so bad. And they had an EMT at the end who had nothing for bee stings. They were like, we can give you some Benadryl.
Oh my God.
So she's like, they hurt so
Yeah, I felt so bad
bad
for her. She's just sitting there, like shaking her leg. She's like, I just want to amputate my leg. If I could just cut it's hurt so much right now. I just want to cut it off. I was like,
Oh,
Yeah, she got
man.
like 2 on her leg and then like 1 on her arm.
and the one on her arm was like that swelled like huge.
Yeah, it was bad.
Angie's 10K report starts bees. The 10K course, the first 2 miles were fairly easygoing. You had to pay attention to your footing, but it was all short or flat or short rolling hills. There were a couple of places where flags indicated that people were supposed to scramble over boulders, but there was also room to go around. And it looked like most people did. Someone kicked up a ground nest of bees, and all the runners around me got stung at least once. I thought I was in the clear, but then one landed on my ear and stung me out of spite. Jerk.
Yeah.
So she did not escape the bee stinging either. Around mile 2 and 3, as a service road that runs downhill. Probably my least favorite part of the course. Footing was very unstable because of the washout. There was also some type of mushroom that grew in big black clumps. I thought it was bear
Ew.
poop at first.
I remember that.
There was no one in sight, so I grabbed a stick and started waving it around and singing loudly when I saw another patch of stuff and I realized what it was.
Oh, God.
I missed she didn't tell us that was funny. I knew Throat Punch Hill was coming. I tried to maintain a steady pace through the first 3 miles without blowing myself out. I didn't want to spend a ton of time at the aid station, but I did grab some water, clementines, and pickles. Volunteers were all super lovely. Throat Punch Hill sucked. When I started going up it, I was using other people's footholds, but I realized they were too far apart from me because I'm short. Still burning too much of energy on the big strides. Halfway up, I needed to stop at pretty much every ribbon to catch my breath. I mean, that's what you said about Throat Punch Hill, too.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Back half was an uphill slog. I would see service roads on a crest and then wind downhill. But then as I got closer to the top, the flag started showing that we get off the road to climb more of the mountainside. So mean. See, she says so mean also. Everyone, that's the word of the day. The last half mile was pretty flat and easy. I kept thinking I was close to the finish line and doing a final push, then rounding a corner and seeing more trail. Definitely felt a sense of accomplishment at the end, even though I did the shortest route. It was pretty lovely to just hang out at the picnic tables in the shade and cheer on the other runners as I came. Many thanks to Diana and Erin for watching Baby Winter while I ran.
Oh, that's awesome. It was also funny because she was chatting afterwards and she said, I was so afraid that I would have FOMO because I always do if like people are running all their distances that I'm not running. She's like, I'm good with that today. After doing what I just did, I'm totally fine with my decision.
Yeah. Jeremy says, I set an ignorantly lofty goal for myself to finish a sub 3 hour. As we all laughed at him. But then the climbing began and I missed a turn that took me about half a mile and 600 feet down, which meant that I had to climb back up to get back on course.
God.
There were no trees left on the I Need a Sherpa, so it was hands and knees crawling the whole way up. My legs locked up a few feet from the finish line too, so I busted my ass in front of everyone. It was a humbling race to say the least, but I finished and I'll be back for more next year.
There you go.
See?
Yeah.
So as he was coming down the finish, we saw him. Melanie and I got up and I was going to film him. I asked Melanie, what kind of mood do you think he's in since he didn't do a sub 3? She's like, I'll feel him out before you start making fun of him right away.
God.
And then, so I got up, I was going to film him crossing the finish line, but then some woman, which I never ended up finding out what she said to him, started talking to him. So he turned around to talk to her and kind of like was half running backwards. And there was like ruts in that road, I heard. So I guess his legs locked up and he fell backwards. And I was like, nope, not going to film this finish. Don't know what kind of mood he's in. Don't know if he wants me to film him.
On the ground. And I don't even know like who that lady was or what she was saying to him.
I don't know. I never
like
found
it almost
out.
looked like she was a volunteer. She wasn't like running.
Yeah, and she wasn't. She was just some woman on the side. I'm not really sure. And he turned around to talk to her, fell, and then I was like, I don't know what kind of mood he's in, so I'm not going to film his finish just in case he's like doesn't want to be filmed. I don't know him well enough.
That thing was so weird. It was weird.
But it turned out he was in a fine enough mood for me to troll him a little bit about his not sub 3 half marathon.
Yeah, he was super nice.
He was. We got Weckerly, who says, I think the most succinct way to review Rockin' the Knob half marathon is to say the course is just mean, or is mean.
Yep.
Just plain mean. The first 6 or 7 miles, pretty much switchbacks and climbing over some rocks that I feel a little treacherous, but fun, controlled danger sort of way. Around mile 7, we came to the first sign where you scale a waterfall. Then I got to the top of this. I was told the sweeper was in front of me. We missed a turn and spent maybe 2 minutes looking for where we'd missed the trail. I didn't think it sounded right, so I picked up my pace to see if I could find the sweeper. I finally did at the next aid station, so I set off to run to try and stay in front of him, and almost immediately went off trail again as I missed another left turn. Once I righted myself, I came to what I thought had been the worst part of the race. In what seemed like a waking nightmare, it was just a mile after mile of exceedingly steep incline that you scaled another waterfall and then just kept going up and up and up and up. Each time I thought I was going to hit the crest, the trail would turn 90 degrees, which would somehow create more uphill path for me to climb. I never had to breathe so hard just from walking. Running was absolutely out of the question. Once I finally made it out of the forest, my GPS tracker told me I was nearing 13 miles, so I thought I was almost done. However, the volunteers told me that I needed to just refill my drinks and get back out there so I could finish on time, because I still had about two and a half miles left. Those 2.5 miles were seemingly longer than all the previous way I had come. Ahead of me was a ski slope that was extremely steep, with just all grass, no good footholds, and no sun cover. Also, it had a false crest where you only see once you've summited, and then you have to go up another 30% to keep going up the hill. And then at the top, a little bridge with a steep ramp that has one final FU to the runners.
Ah, yes.
That had to be the hardest part, right? Well, once you've shuffled down another steep hill that is literally disintegrating beneath you as you move, you come to another sheer wall of rock to climb up, pulling yourself up along either trees or on all fours with no way to rest.
Oh my God.
I've never been so certain in my life I was going to severely injure myself. All that to say, the trail was absolutely beautiful. Scaling across running waterfalls was one of the cooler things I've ever done. The aid stations were the best I've experienced, and the volunteers seemed to be exceedingly positive and supportive to compensate for how awful the race was on the runners. It was a great race to do once.
What?
So,
yeah, he said he'd never do it again.
Once, yeah, we were like, "Oh, did you have fun?" He's like, "Yeah." He was like, "It was okay." I was like, "Would you do it again?" Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay."
Oh my God.
And then we have one last one from our friend Brooke that we met this weekend, who said it was nice to meet you all yesterday and some of the other people in the Will Run For community. Brad realized that him and Tom are cut from the same cloth. I mean, they both love Tool and need high top running shoes. Buy them now, Tom.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Takeaways from her race. My husband and I were signed up for the full, but both pulled to the half after realizing we were not prepared. About 9 miles in, I thought I could have actually done the full, and then the final 5.5 miles set in. We'd only hit 1,000 feet of elevation and knew there was over 2,500 feet more to go.
Yep.
God, that means that, wow, that's a lot. In 9 miles, there's only 1,000 feet. In the last 5.5 have 2,500.
Everything is back. It's all back end.
And don't call it a half marathon. A half marathon is a defined distance.
Yes. The math doesn't add up since a nice 13.1 half marathon, but nothing about this course is nice. Race director Ben must be bad at math or just mean. The back end of this race is brutal as it traverses up and down ski slopes that appear so nice and friendly when covered with snow. We were near a fellow runner on this last journey of the race. We made sure to warn her that this race doesn't stop at 13.1 and she needed to be ready. Mambo Alley was washed out with deep ravines to avoid, and then you turn up Deer Run, which sucks the soul out of every runner who looks up it.
Yep.
I made it to the top by hiking in small side-by-side zigzags while counting 5 steps. Anything to keep my mind off of it. Then we still had more brutal climbs and steep downhills. We scrambled the I need a Sherpa using small trees as grips to get up it while trying to not create an avalanche of loose rocks for any of the runners behind me, with still more climbing after. It's the meanest race. It's horrible and evil, and we keep coming back because it's amazing. She does mention the tiki themed aid station and the amazing volunteers, the kindest people. The trail running community is the best. Best example is staying to cheer until after the final marathon runner comes across the finish line. We're not normally able to stay. We drive home, but they sat in their chairs with their cowbell and cheered everyone on. Luckily, we knew Michael's name, so his cheers were more personal. By watching the entire...
Well, it was funny because I was crossing and I heard my name from the right, and I'm like, wait, everybody I know is over to the left.
Because you had taken off before we'd met Brooke.
Yeah.
And Brad. Yeah.
I was very confused at that point.
Yeah. She said that's why they do it. It's hard and you learn so much about yourself. Trail running is not always easy or fun, but it's the challenge that hooks us. And the community is what keeps us going. We always come back for more. As Peloton has taught me, forward is a pace. There we go. We got a Peloton lesson in there.
There it is.
We can do hard things. If Brittany can make it through 2007, we can make it up the hill.
Amen.
See you at the next knob.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I loved them.
Yeah.
I loved them.
That was great.
It was a good time, as always.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. We didn't keep this short. We never do.
We knew it wouldn't be.
No.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I guess that's it.
Anything else?
Yeah. No,
on Rockin' the Knob.
Just to say, Baby Winter might be the cutest kid in the universe at this moment in time.
Pretty cute. She's pretty cute. And the other thing I will say is we all stayed and watched the absolute last runner finish the race.
Yes.
So that was amazing. That was so cool.
Ran his butt off to get to that finish.
Yeah. He was a marathoner and he did 9 hours.
Gave
I think.
It was 9,
absolutely everything he had.
My God. Yeah. Crossing that finish line. I mean, I cried a little. Actually, I cried a bunch, but whatever. I cry a lot.
Honestly, anybody, like, whether you DNF or whatever, you give everything in that race.
You give everything.
Like, literally, you're not walking out of there without giving what you had that day. Because you have no choice.
I mean, you can't walk away from that race, Tom, not feeling proud of yourself. Because, 12 miles in those conditions, having never seen anything like that in your life. I mean, you left everything you could have possibly on the table. So you can't be more proud of yourself.
I don't feel bad about it at all. You got to put it into perspective. That's a very difficult thing to do.
Yeah. So Going for the half marathon again next year?
I'm
sorry, going for the 14.5.
I've signed up for the
full.
I've signed up for the full. I don't know. I'm on the fence.
That's a
Let me get some
decision to be
distance
made.
between me and that race.
That's
Yeah.
a decision to be made later.
If you need redemption. Maybe next year you do this thing called training on trails and get trail running high tops like
Yeah.
Brad.
I will use poles next year regardless.
So
I just didn't feel like carrying them this year.
yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Do we want to wrap up with something good?
Sure.
We were thinking we haven't been watching a ton, or we've just been watching kind of repeats, or nothing crazy. So my something good for the next few days, and actually the last few days, is I've been listening to Harry Styles nonstop because we're seeing him at Madison Square Garden on Wednesday night. So
it's our anniversary, and we're going to see Mr. Styles.
And Tom has given me the gift of Harry Styles.
And along those lines, my something good is a New York state of mind, because for Diana and mine anniversary, our thing to do is we find a city and we go explore it rather than give the big extravagant gifts. So this year is a little place called New York City.
If you ever heard of
We're
it.
spending a couple days there this week. The trip will culminate at Mr. Styles' concert on Wednesday, which is our anniversary. But we get to explore a little bit of New York together. We haven't been.
I guess mine is because on the way home we were listening to music, and mine is Joe Cocker, just because I love Joe Cocker. So
The best.
There you go.
Oh, he's so great.
Yes, amazing voice, amazing emotion. I was trying to woo Aaron.
He
on
was.
the drive home.
It was very sweet.
Adorable. I think I like his Blackboard cover the best. I love that.
Yeah, I needed some entertainment on my way home, and because it's a pretty long drive. It was like 4 hours with traffic and stops, and there's a little bit more than 4 hours, and a Taco Bell stop, a little bit more than 4 hours, and I was tired. It gets dark, so he was playing me a romantic playlist.
Aww.
I didn't write anything for my something good because I just I'm trying to think of what we've been watching and whether or not it's good, and we don't this is terrible. We're
back on Murder, She Wrote.
We are back on Murder, She Wrote. We found that on Peacock, so we've been watching that. We've been watching Dated and Related.
That's not good, though.
That's not.
Oh, God.
That's not really very good at all.
And it's not bad enough to be bad good either.
Yeah. Michael's romantic playlist is my something good.
Aw. See, we like each other.
Yeah. Okay. So real quick, I grew up with this family, a group of boys that are good friends of ours, and the youngest one, who I really hope he doesn't remember that we used to bully him, because he has grown into quite the badass. And he ran the Grindstone 100 miler recently, and he was the first place male finisher.
Oh man!
Or was that your friend Drew that you talked about?
Yeah,
from
Tom
time to time?
talks about him a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like every time he talks about him, he reintroduces him. But you talk about him a lot on the podcast.
Thank you for that. So I had seen him like a month before, and he was asking me about. We're in like a grocery store. He was asking me about races, and I was telling him about like Rocking the Knob, and I'm like, "What are you signed up for?" And he was like, "This 100 miler. I think I'm going to win it." and then he won it, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Nice.
So just shout out to Gil. That's cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yay, goo.
Yay, Gil. But I will leave you with a quote.
Oh.
It's possibly one of the most overquoted quotes out there, but it's from a friend of the podcast's, T.S. Eliot, who you probably know the quote. And hold on, I got to scroll down.
Not even the rain has such small hands.
Oh, I like that one. But no, T.S. reminds us that only those who risk going too far can possibly find out how far they can go.
Good lesson for yesterday.
Yes, I agree. Congratulations
So,
to
yeah.
all the finishers and even Tom who DNF'd. Congratulations to everyone who even went out there and attempted that race.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're all winners in my
Congratulations.
book.
Congratulations to you and Diana, who babysat with no cell service, no iPad or screens or anything, at the base of a mountain for 8 hours.
All right.
So
Yeah.
that's it. Thank you everybody for listening, and we will talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.